Hello and welcome back to Tuesday New Books. Today we've got fiction, nonfiction, and some more of our grant books that we've gotten in since the last time we were with you. We'll start with the fiction. The first one, The Species Maker, a novel by Kristen Johnson. The Species Maker is a brilliant piece of work giving the reader a much deeper understanding of the era of the Scopes trial, recreating the many layers of thinking that played out on both sides of the conflict over evolution. The Species Maker. Flight Risk, a novel by Joy Castro. Isabel Morales is a successful Chicago sculptor hiding a brutal family history, not one even her husband knows. After decades of turning her back on the past, she's forced to return to Appalachia, where she receives news of her estranged mother's death. Flight Risk. Next one, Bernard Cornwell, Sharpe's Assassin. It's another installment in the Sharpe's series. Lieutenant Colonel Sharpe is a man with a reputation. Born in the gutter and raised a family, he joined the Army 21 years ago, and it has been his home ever since. He's a loose cannon, but his unconventional methods make him a valuable weapon. Sharpe's Assassin. Another mystery, Death in Cornwall by GMLA. It's a St. Just mystery. To celebrate their engagement, DCI Arthur St. Just and Portia DeAth visit the quiet village of Maidstone in Cornwall. Upon arriving, they find the villagers in an uproar over plans to redevelop the local seafront. Death in Cornwall. The reader has a real treat in store. New W.E.B. Griffin, Rogue Asset, a presidential agent novel. The Secretary of State has been kidnapped by Islamic extremists, and his only hope for survival is a reconstituted presidential agent team in this revival of W.E.B. Griffin's best-selling series. The Shadows of Men by Abir Mukherjee. Award-winning crime novelist is back with another brilliant mystery featuring police detective Captain Sam Wyndham and Sergeant Surendranath Banerjee, set in 1920s Calcutta. The Shadows of Men. It's a Wonderful Wolf by Spencer Quinn, a Chet and Bernie mystery. Chet the dog, the most lovable narrator in crime fiction, and his human partner, P.I. Bernie Little, are enjoying a joyful holiday season together in the valley. With the spirit of the holidays in mind, and despite dismal shape of the finances at the Little Detective Agency, Bernie refers a potential client, a fellow private eye. It's a Wonderful Wolf. The Wicked Widow, Bertrice Williams. Jen Kelly, the Wicked Redhead, is back in the next installment of the Wicked City series by best-selling author Beatrice Williams. The Wicked Widow. This is a Gothic mystery novel, The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling. Practical and unassuming, Jane Shorington has done the calculations and decided the most secure path forward is this: a husband in a marriage of convenience who will allow her to remain independent and occupied with meaningful work. The Death of Jane Lawrence. And we have another of the Jane Austen annotated series, Sense and Sensibility. This is one of our purchases that we made with our grant to fill in our classic books.
Right. And then in nonfiction, the first book we have is The Age of AI and Our Human Future. It's by Henry A. Kissinger, Eric Schmidt, and Daniel Huttenlocher. The age of AI is upon us. 3 leading thinkers have come together to consider what it means, and they have concluded that it is changing nearly everything about how humans navigate the world. Next we have 21st Century Southern Writers, New Voices, New Perspectives. That's edited by Jean W. Cash and Richard Govrin. It's a new anthology featuring contemporary and up-and-coming Southern fiction writers. we have Liturgy of the Ordinary, Sacred Practices in Everyday Life, and that's by Tish Harrison Warren. We also have The Dying Citizen by Victor Davis Hanson, How Progressive Elites, Tribalism, and Globalization Are Destroying the Idea of America. Next, we have a collection of poems by Amanda Gorman. She was the young woman who performed one of her poems at the recent inauguration of President Biden. So if you enjoyed that, these are more poems by her. It's called Call Us What We Carry. Once again, Amanda Gorman. We also have The Sinner and the Saint by Kevin Birmingham, Dostoevsky and the Gentleman Murderer Who Inspired a Masterpiece. We have The President and the Freedom Fighter, Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass, and Their Battle to Save America's Soul. That's by Brian Kilmeade. This book called Woke Racism by John McWhorter, How a New Religion Has Betrayed Black America. We also have A Killer by Design, Murderers, Mind Hunters, and My Quest to Decipher the Criminal Mind. It's by Anne Wolbert Burgess. We have a biography of Prince Philip called Prince Philip Revealed by Ingrid Seward. And finally, we have 1,000 Perfect Weekends, Great Getaways Around the Globe, and that's put out by National Geographic.
Alrighty, and we have some more of our books that we got through our LSTA grant. First, we'll start with some of the art books. This is Vincent's books, Van Gogh and the Writers Who Inspired Him. So that's very cool. One of the most famous artists in history, Vincent van Gogh, was also a man with another powerful passion for books. Next one, Drawing and Painting Anime and Manga Faces by Nao Yuzawa, Step-by-Step Techniques for Creating Authentic Characters and Expressions. Another book, The Master Painters of the Dutch Golden Age, Their Lives and Works in 500 Images. Some of the ones are talking about Vermeer, Van Dyck, and Rembrandt. This is another one, The Art of Illusion by Florian Heine. It really takes you a closer look at some very famous paintings and artworks, and they talk about trompe l'oeil and how that you can look at something and not really see exactly what the artist meant you to see. Another one, The Artist's Manual, Definitive Art Sourcebook, Media, Materials, Tools, and Techniques. This is by the Dorling Kindersley publishers, and they do awesome, really comprehensive books. Another, How to Draw Without Talent. I need to read this. Danny Gregory, All You Need Is a Pen, Paper, and This Book. Another one on drawing, 30-minute drawing for beginners, easy step-by-step lessons and techniques for landscapes, still lives, figures, and more by Jordan DeWild. Lots of really cool art books. Art Starts with a Line, a creative and interactive guide to the art of line drawing, written and illustrated by Aaron McManus. That's really got some cool stuff. And if you fancy being a children's books illustrator, we have How to Be a Children's Books Illustrator. It's hard to create a children's book's illustrations when you don't understand the mechanics of how children's books work. You need to know the rules before you can bend or break them. Cool. Another one, Acrylic Paint Pouring, 16 Fluid Painting Projects and Creative Techniques by Tanya Young. That's fascinating. Another one by Dorling Kindersley, Watercolor Techniques for Artists and Illustrator. Discover how to paint landscapes, people, still lives, and more. Develop your own style, guided by professionals. Another watercolor book, The Beginner's Guide to Watercolor, Master Essential Skills and Techniques Through Guided Exercises and Projects by Joe V. Merrill. Annie Sloan Collection, 75 step-by-step paint projects and ideas to transform your home by Annie Sloan. The Eternal Tao Te Ching, the philosophical masterwork of Taoism and its relevance today by Benjamin Hoff. Some of our religious new books in our religion section. Along Came Google, A History of Library Digitization by Deanna Markham and Roger Schoenfeld. Google had got online and digitized a bunch of older books that were outside the copyright, and people started having objections to that, so that's where the project went from there. And another one on languages, Strange to Say, Etymology and Serious Entertainment by Deborah Warning. This is all the little sayings that you hear, say it with flowers, they tell you about that, speaking ill of, what buzzwords, the background and what they exactly mean. Too funny for words, so some really fun information to find out with those sayings you hear every day.
We've also got The Right Word, a writer's toolkit of grammar, vocabulary, and literary terms. That's from Writers and Artists, another one of our grant books. So if you're interested in writing and grammar, things like that, this could be a really cool book to check out. And we have one very timely for a lot of parents out there, A Parent's Guide to Virtual Learning, How to Help Your Child Thrive in an Online Classroom. We have this book, also by DK, the film book, A Complete Guide to the World of Movies. This is a new edition. And then finally we have this big book called Design, the Definitive Visual Guide. That's also a DK book in partnership with Smithsonian, and just says design is thinking made visual, the influence of major design movements, the march of technology, the imagination of original minds have come together to produce a staggering diversity of form and function in everything around us. The finest examples are profiled here alongside some of their more famous creators and timelines, tracking the evolution of items, making this book the most comprehensive, inspiring, and accessible history of design ever.
So if you're interested in any of these books, especially the LSTA, remember to check for the little sticker on the spine. They'll be in with the new books on the new bookshelf, as well as any of our new fiction and nonfiction. And be sure to jump on our website if you see any of these you want to put on hold. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Bye.